There's no problem big enough for God. Have you ever suffered or still suffer with something that you feel like it's too big to overcome? Whether that's like, anxiety, loneliness, depression, heartbreak, whatever. You feel like, dang, there is no way like I'm gonna be able to overcome this. I know one thing I was personally suffering through was unforgiveness. That whenever I would think about that person or what they did, it would just build up this anger inside of me. And I say I suffer from it because that person had the power to get me so angry and just bitter, while they can go on with their life like nothing happened and like they didn't do anything. I didn't know how to get over it. I thought this is just what it is. This is life. There's no way around it. You kind of just gotta hold on to it, right? But today, I have hope for every single person watching this video that no matter what you're going through, no matter how big your situation is, God can heal you. He can transform your entire life and heart to be in the right place. The scripture I want to show you guys is in Mark 5 verses 21 to 34. In verse 21 it reads, "When Jesus had again crossed over by boat to the other side of the lake, a large crowd gathered around him while he was by the lake. Then one of the synagogue leaders named Jairus came, and when he saw Jesus he fell at his feet. He pleaded earnestly with him, 'My little daughter is dying. Please come and put your hands on her so that she will be healed and will live.' So Jesus went with him. A large crowd followed and pressed around him, and a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. She had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors and had spent all she had. Yet, instead of getting better, she grew worse." So just a little bit of context of what's going on. Jesus is about to do a miracle. He's asked to do a miracle by this guy who felt that he can heal her daughter. But as he was on the way, there was a woman that was bleeding for 12 years straight. I don't know how long you suffered from your trial. Maybe it's been years, maybe it's been months. This lady was bleeding for 12 continuous years. And it says that she suffered so much under the care of many doctors. She even spent all she had on things that would try to numb the pain. And yet, instead of growing better, she grew worse. So in today's day and age, we can tend to suffer from a lot of things, and the way society maps it out for us to how to overcome these things, you see so many people smoking, vaping, drinking so they can forget about the things that's bothering them and that they're suffering from inside. You see people tearing each other down, violence, all these things, right? All because we think these things will help us feel better about the pain that we're going through. One phase of unforgiveness is that phase where you just want to get back and get revenge. And I thought that would be the thing that would help me cope with it best, is if I seek out trying to get back at this person for doing me wrong, And you see this lady literally spent all she had on different substances, different things that would try to numb this pain. She even went to the best of the best doctors, the therapists at the time, and none of them worked. What are you running to when you're feeling these ways? Are you running to drugs or anything like that when you're not feeling your best? Are you running to your emotions when you're not feeling your best? Are you running to toxic people or even the people that hurt you in the first place when you're suffering on the inside? What do you run to? This lady basically ran to the things that she thought would have helped cope, and the whole time it did nothing for her. She actually grew worse. Let's turn back to verse 27. When she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak, which is like his clothing, because she thought, if I just touch his clothes, I will be healed. Immediately, her bleeding stopped, and she felt in her body that she was freed from her suffering. So this lady ran to all these different things to try to cope with this for 12 years, right? And she only got worse and worse. So she decided, I'm just gonna try to get close to Jesus. That's all I'm gonna try to do. I've tried everything, but this time, let me try going to God and seeing what he can do about it. Which for a lot of us, including myself, this can be a last resort. God can be like almost that emergency call where it's like 911 in a way, When things aren't going right, we tried everything and we're only growing worse and worse to a point maybe like you could be on the verge of death or cancer or something like that. Then people want to call God and say, okay, God, I need your help. God, we're praying. I pray that you bring me through or something. But Jesus isn't just an emergency call. He's actually the healer of all healers. This thing that you're suffering from, you have tried all different things to try to medicate what you're going through, but it clearly hasn't get you far if it's affecting the way that you're thinking, your body. It's affecting the people around you. It's affecting your mental, and you haven't really received that true healing that you can really get from God. This lady had enough faith, even if it was this small, to at least just get close to God. And it says immediately she was freed from her sufferings. Why is that? Why is it that she was freed from her suffering? Because Jesus is in the crowd. Why is it that the people in the crowd weren't healed? Why was she the only one that was healed? At once Jesus realized that his power had gone out from him. He turned around in the crowd and asked, "Who touched my clothes?" "You see the people crowding against you," his disciples answered, "and yet you can ask, 'Who touched me?'" He's basically saying, like, there's hundreds of people here, Jesus. What are you talking about? But Jesus kept looking around to see who had done it. Then the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell at her feet, trembling with fear, and told him the whole truth. He said to her, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering." So this lady that's been suffering for 12 years, once again, tried different types of medication, but ran to God instead. Not strictly because it's best for her or there's rules or everybody around her is going to church and stuff like that, but because she had faith that God can do something greater than her. She was thinking that the person that created her could do way better with her than she could do for herself. Because sometimes we can't even save ourselves from our own situations. But God, the creator of all, can do something greater than us that we can ever imagine. You're going to realize there are some things that are completely out of your control and completely out of human control. I can't go to the doctors for a surgery for a heartbreak. That's just internal pain. It's not like you can get a surgery and like your heart can get surgically repaired. There's just some things that you can't necessarily heal from. And these things that we try to do to numb the pain, is it going to cut the deal? It's not going to do it for us in the long run, because it's going to affect us and really damage us. I see so many people going through a lot of unneeded like lung cancers because they have a smoking addiction because it helps them cope. The whole time they're damaging themselves and they're letting themselves go. What pain are you kind of refusing to give to God? And what do you think that God can't do with that pain? This lady was healed because of her faith that God can do so. There's so many times where we can get close to God in a way and touch God, whether that's going to church with your moms, whether you see a TikTok and they pray for you and things like that. Those are great things. But the moment you start to move based off faith is believing in what you can't see. So the moment you start acting on faith, thinking that although I can't see God physically, I know that he can heal me with this, and you give it to him, you pray to him, you ask him for healing, you get to come closer to him in a sense by reading the Bible, which is hearing God, and talking to God through prayer, which is talking to him. You build that relationship. God can heal you from the craziest things ever imagined. The thing that you think has no way to overcome. You just have to put the things that we try to numb the pain with aside. Because how can you ever depend on God if you have this thing that you're depending on to help you cope? God ultimately seems small when you have all these things that you're trying to cope with. And to that lady, she probably didn't understand God's true power for 12 years because she tried running to different medications and doctors. But the moment she ran to God, everything changed. I hope this message spoke to somebody today. What can God not heal you from, and what do you need to give to God today? You guys have a blessed day. I'll see you guys in the next video, man. Peace.